is there such a thing as subconscious integration? And to put that in layman's terms, is it true that your subconscious mind, the things you're not conscious of, is capable of aggregating things from across your life and integrating them into some kind of principle? An example of that would be when you kind of feel that somebody's untrustworthy or something like that, and it's because you've experienced all these other occasions of people behaving in a certain way. Is that integration? Is it something we can trust, or is it just a form of perception, and integration is only something that can happen in the conscious mind?
I would say this about that. There's definitely something there, right? We all experience this, that on a subconscious level, something goes on whereby um, data comes together and gets sorted out in such a way or gets integrated in such a way that it affects us. And so we know something is going on there. Now, I'm perfectly comfortable with calling that integration on a subconscious level. I could see some pushback if people were talking about the nature of consciousness as an integrating um, mechanism of sorts, such that when we're forming and using concepts, we're integrating to do so. And I can understand why some people might want to sort of quarantine that term just for conscious integration. But I don't think that makes sense. So I'm not warm to that idea. I'm much warmer to the idea of saying that the subconscious does some kind of integration. I mean, what on earth is a dream if it's not your subconscious integrating and actively, producing images and stories and conversations and the like? That can't happen without integration, and that's happening when you're asleep. So yeah, I do think there is something to that, and I definitely think this has something to do with what people sometimes call intuitions. As you mentioned, you meet someone and the person seems either like Sarah and I met someone about a year ago who's become a very dear friend, and when we first met him, we both turned to each other within about 10 minutes of meeting him, and we were like, this guy's one of our people. He's just like us, and we could tell that so fast. And it was partly the way that he was handling himself and the way that he was speaking. But there was more to it than that. There was something, you sense a person's sense of life and the elements of a personality at to some extent I don't know if it's at a subconscious level, but Ayn Rand coined this phrase psychoepistemology, which is the science that studies the automatic functions of the subconscious and the conscious functions or volitional functions of the conscious mind and how they interact. Something is going on there when we met this guy's, I can name his name. His name is Aaron, and there was something obvious very quickly about him that seemed to come from a subconscious understanding of what was going on with him. And then the opposite happens. I think also you meet someone and you're like, this guy's squirrely. I don't trust this person. And clearly your conscious mind is pulling together. I mean, you're perceiving things. You might be perceiving him being shifty, literally physically shifty, or you might perceive that that his eyes are glaring, beady or glaring away when you're trying to talk to him. He doesn't look you in the eyes at all. So some of it is perceptual and something that you can just sense at the conscious level, but there's more to it. So I would agree. What do you think? Do you tell me more about your experiences with that?
Yeah, so I had a sort of debate about this with Angel, who we both know, a couple of weeks ago, about whether or not that counts as integration, because we all agree that thing's happening. It's whether or not it's is it the same as when your conscious mind integrates data into knowledge. And I think the two need to work together and actually are both essential to the process of integration. I think obviously we live in this culture where there's a tendency for people too much to rely on feelings, follow their guts, or vibes or things like that. But I think in the objectivist movement, there's almost an irrational overreaction to that, where people dismiss gut feelings and vibes too much when those are really the product of a sort of process of subconscious integration that we need to listen to, but then put through a rational analysis before we act on, when we have the time to do that. Sometimes we don't.
Your senses pick up a lot more than your conscious mind is aware of. And I suspect that your brain, your subconscious, I think they're roughly the same thing, is processing a lot of that stuff in ways you're unaware of too, and it has an effect. Look, the effect of it goes two ways. Your conscious mind has an effect on your brain and your body, and your brain and your body have an effect on your conscious mind. It's a two-way street. And I really do think there's something going on there that is legitimately called integration at the subconscious level. It is not the same thing, though, as the kind of integration. It's not the same kind of integration that goes on when you're, when you're consciously trying to figure out, the answer to a problem, or, formulate a sentence if you're writing an article or something like that. That is a different kind of integration, but it's fed by your subconscious. Look, you can't write a sentence without tapping into your subconscious, because where are you going to get the material from, right? So it's all interacting all the time. And I think the mind, the human mind, is an integrating, mechanism's kind of the wrong term, because it's not mechanical. It's not even physical in my view. But it is an integrating thing that works directly with a physical thing, your brain. And both sides of that are doing something we can call integration, I think.